There is a moment in the classic Barbarians v New Zealand match of 1973 when there is a dummy that is so sharp that it famously confuses the TV cameraman. His camera spins to the right, while the man carrying the ball heads left at breakneck pace. The assumption might be that it would be Phil Bennett or one of the other Welsh backs on duty that day who were responsible. After all, in that life on Mars you're all concerned were pretty much in their pomp. Not so. The man in question was David Duckha, whose display at the Arms Park endeared him to a generation of Welsh rugby supporters, who saw him as one of their own. Some even saying about the blonde-haired, long-striding wing, Duckha is a Welshman, nah. The Coventry-born Duckha wasn't, of course, but the word on the street was he played like one. And given the rugby Wales and their backs were playing at the time, there could be no higher compliment. Welsh supporters called him Die Duckha, something he enjoyed so much he called his autobiography, Die for England. Duckha was also a gent to his core as a player. A lovely guy, is the verdict of Ray Chico Hopkins, a teammate from the Lions tour of New Zealand in 1971. Ray Chico Hopkins, image, Rob Brown. I roomed with him on that trip and can remember being really nervous about having to go out and speak at a school. All of us had to do it, but my school must have been the biggest in New Zealand because it contained about 3,500 children. I'm not a great one for public speaking and the boys knew I was petrified. So David and 17 others all came along to support me. I was still so nervous I knocked the lectern off the stage and came close to wiping out 4 of the kids. But the point was David and the others were there to back me up. I'm still in touch with him to this day. He enjoyed being so well thought of in Wales. We had some great players in those days and England were going through a tough time, but he could handle, step and run with the best of them. David Duckha in his England pomp, image, Western male. The shame for Duckha is that he was so criminally underused by England. He is estimated to have received fewer than 3 passes a game during the 36 caps he won for his country. But the Coventry player still scored 10 tries, underlining his skills and finishing ability. Duckha excited so much that after he bowed out of rugby with a try in his final game, against Bristol, the Guardian's Frank Keating jumped from the press box to join in as the three-quarter left the field amid a throng of back-slapping well-wishers. Welsh rugby supporters took a shine to David Duckha, but it had all really gone up a gear that day. Duckha played for the Boss against New Zealand. I tend to think of 1973 and 74 as my vintage years, he once told the rugby paper. It all started at the end of January with the Barbarians match against New Zealand at Cardiff Arms Park, where I'd been on the losing side, again, for England in the Five Nations the week before. As the only Englishman in the backline, it was such a contrast to have the crowd on my side on this occasion. I was referred to as Die by the Welsh because they felt I played like them, and that was a real honor. In fact, I don't think I've received a better compliment, and I ended up calling my autobiography, Die for England. In 1973 England were the first team to play in Dublin after Scotland and Wales had declined to do so a year before during the Troubles. Their skipper brought the house down at the post-match dinner by declaring, "We may not be any good, but at least we turned up." Duckha was very good. David Duckha. Many Welsh fans in that era admired Tony Neary, the formidably hard flanker, and also enjoyed the play of the galloping ball handler Andy Ripley. But most of all it was Duckha who earned their applause. People like watching good players, and David was a good player, adds Chico Hopkins. Like I say, he's also a good man.